Take the time every day to find out why you're not taking the action that you know you should be taking, and be deadly honest with yourself. And then figure out a way to let go of the things that are holding you back. If you will do that every day, your entire world will just shift and change.
Welcome back. Today we're speaking with Ben Sweet. So Ben runs a fairly large real estate team. He has 15 agents, 3 admin. They do about 255 sales, or $150 million is what they were able to do in sales volume in 2024. Average sale price, $600,000, and 25 years experience. And he services the Calgary market. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Mark. Great to be here.
So Ben, it's quite the introduction there. I mean, 255 sales in a given year. You're in the Calgary market. Can you give a little bit about your backstory and what actually got you into real estate?
Sure. Actually, you know what? How far back do you want to go? Why don't I start when I was 8 years old? That probably is a good spot there. Oddly enough, we were just talking before we hit record. They were talking about my last name and how to use it in marketing. But I grew up in a family where the family business was cotton candy, snow cones, nachos, all the candy apples, all the sweet stuff. And so from 8 to 18, that was the family business for me. Every summer was going around to different fairs and basically selling sugar and ensuring everyone's sugar addiction was at an all-time high by the time the summer ended. And so I really, I learned a lot from my dad about customer service and about hustling and learning how to make things happen, and leaning on yourself and just trusting yourself that when things aren't going the way they need to, you need to lean in and figure out a way to make it happen on your own. So, rain was never an excuse for low sales, right? It's low sales are just a result of some other form of lack of activity. So I learned that early on. And I was a bartender and server for a long time. And after leaving serving, bartending serving, I moved into real estate when I was about 27 years old. And then after getting started in real estate, it took me a good solid 3 years to really get my footing. And then at that point, I had transitioned over to Remax from a local brokerage here. And then things gently and slowly kind of started to take off, and stayed stable for a number of years, and then just decided to dig into the mindset side of it. And then things really started to take off. So that's how I got my start.
So good. Ben, I just want to really highlight something you shared in your story with what your dad told you. He said, you're saying that raining was never an excuse for lack of sales. That was never a good reason for it. It was always, you said, it always came down to a lack of activity. I think that if somebody wanted the silver bullet in real estate, this two things is like taking ownership and like just doing more activity.
Yeah.
I think if you were to really hone in on that and double down and truly take that serious, is like, no matter what the market is, no matter how many sales are happening in the market, there are sales out there. And then the flip side of that is I just need to have more activity, is like have more conversations with potential buyers and sellers. And activity is not pushing paper from one side of the desk to the other, moving really fast. It's like actually going out like you did with the cotton candy, all the rest of it. You went out and actually had conversations with people. And I like that lesson, learning that early on. I'm just thinking for my boys, I'm like, how do I drive this? I have 3 boys, 17, 15, and 13. How am I going to drive that one lesson into them? Because I think that lesson in itself is one of the best all-time business, will say, if you want to be high producer in business, just get that down really, really deep inside. And you got that lesson early.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And I've had to relearn it multiple times. You've been, I did. Yeah. And I've had to relearn it multiple times. You've been a realtor for a while, so you know what it was like. Probably in 2008, it was a super, super difficult time in real estate, especially to be in Alberta. Generally speaking, when the rest of Canada is doing very well, Alberta is not, and vice versa. So during that time frame, there was a big royalty regime going on. The global, nobody's buying houses, nobody's selling houses. Like there's nothing going on. And I flipped on my computer and I logged into my local MLS and I looked down and it was like 9:21 in the morning, and 37 sales had been reported that day. And I was like, there's lots going on. I'm not going on. I just need to lean into what my dad taught me when I was a kid, which is, doesn't matter if it's raining. Like that's no excuse for a lack of sales. So get out there. Big deal. It was a big deal. So Yeah.
So good. I love that. And so you can, I mean, that's a good lesson for existing agents in today's market is just go to the hot sheet. At the end of the day, you look and say how many sales actually happen on my real estate board. And like that's perfect. That's evidence that there are people that are buying and selling homes in today's market, in every market, right?
Yeah.
You might need to double your activity. You know, you got to talk to twice as many, we'll say, cotton candy vendors or potential, right?
Yeah.
But
That's
at the
right.
end of the day, it's
Yeah.
out there. So I love that. Like that is tangible advice that you can, you know, if somebody has this mindset that it's just homes are not selling, I mean, you get whatever you think is true to you. If you think there aren't homes selling, there aren't homes selling, and you'll find in your own experience that homes aren't selling in your world. But if you flip the script and actually look for evidence of homes selling, like going to the board, you'll start to find opportunities. So I think the mindset is really important. That that lesson was so good that you got that early.
Well, I think the hardest part as a team lead is really just helping your agents to like really dig into that and recognize that, if it is to be, it's up to me. That's how simple it is, right?
Right.
It's funny. I think the other thing, Mark, and you probably noticed this as well, but like during slower times, if you look at who's doing the sales, it's often not newer agents. It's often the agents that have been around and been through multiple markets. They know that, you need to either outspend other agents during slow times, or you need to double down on your prospecting activities. But whatever it is, you just need to do more to get less, because the conversion rate is just not going to be the same, right?
Yeah. No, that's so good. It's so true too. How about your any regular habits or maybe some productivity hacks that you do on a regular basis to be able to, we'll say, get more from your day?
Man, I suck there. I really do. I have no problems telling people where I just am not great. And I'm not a super productive guy. I like to think I am. I like to pretend that I am. I've got lists upon lists of all the stuff. I've tried numerous different things, but I think the key is for me is that just every single day there's just like one really important thing that has to get done. And so if I can get that one thing done 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever that is, that's a win. And, you know, I'm not actively selling homes anymore, so I don't need to be 100% on top of my phone constantly. I can turn it off for an hour, right? I can set it aside for an hour or two if I need to get that thing done. And usually I do need to do that, because otherwise I'm just so distracted. But I have a little bit of a kind of my own productivity hack that I'll do, because I'm not I'm not very consistent. I'm not great with focus. I struggle to complete tasks. I have all kinds of challenges that way. Uh, I think though it's really important that everyone just truly knows themselves well enough to find ways to work within your own restrictions and limitations and weaknesses, if you want to call it that. So I've been good at succeeding in spite of all of that stuff. And so one of the things I'll do is I'm really good at working in sprints. So if I need to just jump into something and double down on it for a period of time and go really hard, and just everything else can just get out of my way and I can really focus on it, I can be really focused and really move the needle. Where I get tired out is if I need to do that every single day. So I'll work in these sprints, and then I need times of rest. I've
Mm.
kind of always been that way, and it's funny because when I look at the family business, like we work super hard during the summer, and then in the fall and winter we kind of just relax a little bit more. But the other thing I'll do is I will commit myself to something, usually publicly. I'll commit myself to something that needs to get done, and then I just kind of get to work and figure out how to make it happen after I've committed to it. So, in my case, a commitment typically comes first, and then I allow the commitment to pull the activities and all the other behaviors in place. So that kind of works for me.
Well, it's interesting because some of the most productive people that I know, they don't have this big complex system that they follow, but they're extremely they focus on that one thing. So one of the things that you said that you do is you have one thing a day and you just work on it. you, as long as you get that one thing a day, and so you've built in sprints, which is good to understand about it. But you'll do the thing. So I would imagine that the thing, in many cases, is a hard thing to do. like you said, put shutters on and like blinders on and just focus on that one thing. I think a lot of people, they don't do the hard thing. They know what the one thing hard thing is, and as simple as it is, it's not necessarily easy to do, right?
Yep.
Might
Yep.
be a very hard thing to do. So what has helped you actually take action on that one thing? Like, is it courage? Is it just like you kind of, you know, shut your eyes and just start running towards it? Or like, is there an approach to actually get that most important thing done on a daily basis?
Um, I'm big on belief change. So if I didn't do well at my one thing the day before or at, my to-do list the day before, because I also like to feel productive. I don't just want to do the one thing. Like I really do want to crush the to-do list every morning I wake up. But that's not necessarily the thing that pushes us forward in life. Um, but every morning I wake up, I will reflect on the previous day or the previous week or the previous month to see how I'm feeling. Have I been doing the thing? Am I taking the actions I need to take on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis? Like, it doesn't have to be every single day. I don't expect to win everything every day. But if I'm not winning on a weekly basis, that's a bigger concern for me. If I'm not winning on a monthly basis, I really need to take a good hard look at what's going on. So usually I'll wake up in the morning, I'll sit down, I'll, have my protein, hit the gym, do the thing I need to do. And then I'll grab a coffee and think about what's been going on, and am I legitimately showing up the way I say I want to show up and the way I need to show up to reach the goals that I've set for myself. I've always been a goal guy. I've always been very driven by goals. I think they're important. Not They're not important for, hey, at the end of my life, look at all the goals I've achieved. They're important because these are things I want for myself. These are things I want for my family, my wife, my kids, my community. And so that stuff gives meaning to my everyday life. That's the stuff that propels me forward. And so if I'm not showing up in a meaningful way, which is just sometimes just simply getting the thing done, then I will sit back and I'll ask myself, dude, what are you afraid of? What's going on here? Why aren't you digging into this more deeply? Like, what is the fear? And so I'm always trying to find my next project or my next goal is always something that it's got to make me feel uncomfortable. There's got to be an element of me feeling like a little shaky and nervous and enough doubt to
Mm.
make me feel like I don't know if I can achieve it or not. Otherwise, it's not really a goal worth achieving. I kind of have three different sets when I'm achieving goals. So I'll have a minimum standard goal that I have to reach. Then I'll have a goal that if I reach that, I'll be content. And then I have like a higher level goal that if I get close to, that would just be a life changing event. And so if I'm just not really hitting it, if I'm not showing up, I will wake up in the morning and I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, not happy with how you've been showing up. Like, what's going on? What's the thing? And I'll just sit with it, stay quiet, and just kind of see what feelings and thoughts come up. And generally speaking, that's where, the limitation presents itself. And then I'll go in and just resolve the beliefs. And then typically all of a sudden I'll come out of those times with myself with I don't want to say renewed vigor, but I mean, I do this every day. It's just a process I've been doing for years. And so it's a natural way for me to reinvent myself so that when I show up to do the thing the next day, I'm not the person who struggled with it the day before. I'm showing up as this different person who's a little bit more free, a little bit more confident, a little bit less fearful about just kind of digging in and just getting my hands dirty and going to work. So,
Yeah, I love that. I really like that mindset of one, slowing down and actually thinking. I think that a lot of real estate agents, I think all of us to some degree, sometimes we're just so busy. It's like almost it's like being on a jet ski, right? The ocean is all of your thoughts, and you're just skimming above, on the jet ski, skimming above the water, but you're not actually like scuba diving into, your thinking and like soaking in what's going on around you and asking bigger questions like, am I going towards the goals that I want? Am I making progress? And I like what you had said. Like, it's one thing if you didn't hit it for a day or two, but if it's like a week or a month, that's something that is more concerning. But if you don't slow down and actually have a time to think about it, then you could be going 2-3 years down the road and realize, geez, like It's almost like on autopilot. I'm going the wrong direction here. Like, what's going on? Right. So you don't get too far down the road. So I think that's very wise counsel you just gave.
Sure, I'm a wise guy. I'll take it. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Uh,
Yeah, you got to
well,
do it. Got to dig in like that.
so I'm curious on the differentiation in your marketplace. You've been successful. What do you think is the main thing that differentiates you compared to other agents in your market that a home buyer or seller would want to work with you and your team? Is there something that differentiates you at a level?
Uh, yes, and so I'd like to say I'm systems heavy, but I think we're systems heavy enough for the team that we have. We could probably be a little bit more systems heavy and kind of have more business that would flow in a little bit more, let's say actively. I'm just speaking more in terms of like longer term follow up, to capitalize on the leads that we do have in our system. Um, I have spent a lot of time over the past like 15 years really digging into just building out this concept of we are the people that you can trust. We are the people that it doesn't matter what price range of a home you have, we are going to take extremely good care of you. You can go and read some of our reviews, you'll get a tremendous sense of that. And then I've built a business just around essentially these like online assets, if you will be the phrase I'll use, so that anywhere people go looking, we just kind of show up. And I have a pretty consistent message that I want to communicate, which is we're good. Other people say we're good. We are trustworthy. We will treat you like family. We're going to tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. And we have extremely good results. And we've been around a long time, and we're going to be here tomorrow as well. So you can trust that you're gonna get the results that you're looking for. And Mark, I think the biggest thing is this. This is where agents really drop the ball. The biggest thing that they don't do is they don't put themselves in the eyes or in the mind of the person that's looking to hire a realtor. They're so focused on the social media or the keyword or the this or the website or like all the different things that they lose sight of what a buyer and a seller really want. And you know what that is? It's literally the biggest thing for them is they're not looking to have a great relationship with a realtor. They are looking to not make a big mistake. That is their number one thing. They don't want to hire a crappy realtor. They want to, because so many realtors out there, or so many people out there have such a poor perception of realtors. So if I just spend a lot of time, energy, and effort, which I have over 10 years, into, I don't want to say crafting a message, but essentially communicating in the online world that we are unbelievably trustworthy people. We do extremely well. Here are the stats that prove that. And just a whole lot of social proof behind that. Many people will just simply hire us before we even show up. And so I think that's something that people really kind of miss, And there's two other parts to that are super important as well that I really like to think that we're strong on, and that is this. The first thing is that I heard this phrase a long, long time ago, and it was such a game changer for me. It built the strategy, or it built part of the foundation for everything that I do from a marketing standpoint, for the most part, which is nobody ever hired a realtor because they wanted to hire a realtor, right? You've probably heard that one before. It's like people don't buy a drill because they want to, own a drill. Of course, guys do, but that's not really what they want. What they need is they need a hole, right? They need to hang a picture, whatever it is. So nobody ever hired a realtor because they wanted to hire a realtor. Nobody's looking for another friend, right? They hired a realtor because they need someone that they can trust that's going to guide them through the complicated process of buying and selling a home, and they need to ensure that what they're going to do is not going to be fraught with mistakes and stress and difficulty and challenge. They want something that's going to be proven. And there's another part as well. Nobody wants to be a leader in that regard. People want to be followers. And because the benefit to being a follower is that you don't have to worry about making a mistake. Every time I sit down to order some Chinese food, like I have yet to find a really great one, but I will always choose the one that's 4.6 as opposed to 4.4. Most people will do that because we believe that we're going to have a better experience, or the food's going to be slightly better, or we're going to make, the probability of us experiencing a poor mistake or a bad mistake or having a bad experience is substantially reduced as a result of that. So when people lean into online reviews and just simply, if agents spend their time properly building their reputation and then add in some promotion on top of that stuff, and they do it from a way that is not what I said, but what others said, I mean, that's a real game changer. And then, kind of the last piece of that that's also important is entering the conversation that people are having with themselves. Um, Anybody that's looking to buy a home, again, they're concerned about making a mistake. They're concerned about hiring the wrong realtor because they think there's lots of bad realtors out there. Still to this day, the perception around realtors is not great. So it's our job as realtors, as marketers, as entrepreneurs, to provide proof in advance. And that's a Sharon thing, proof in advance. But to provide proof in advance so that people feel super comfortable, so that by the time you show up to the home, they've already made the decision. You're the one. Or at a minimum, it gets you into more conversations. So, I think that the best kind of marketing should be geared towards bottom of the funnel. So if you think of it in terms of keywords, right? So the first keyword would be homes for sale in Calgary, right? That's going to attract someone who's thinking about buying a home, selling a home at some point. Um, Middle of the funnel would be something along the lines of, great neighborhood information, right? Which neighborhood should we choose? They've already decided they're buying. Now they're deciding on the neighborhood. And now they need the bottom of the funnel is people who are shopping for a realtor, right? Um, when someone goes shopping for a realtor, that's a completely different story. So you need to set your business up, your marketing up in a way that makes it perfectly set up for people that are shopping for a realtor. That is bottom of the funnel. Those are super hungry people that are ready to rock and roll. A lot of them are just simply salivating, right? They're just ready to rock and roll. Versus, bringing someone in at the top with a super cheap Facebook lead, and then trying to convert that person into something at some point within the next 2 to 5 years, right?
What are some activities that you could do? You had mentioned a couple, like having testimonials and reviews of like success, but for bottom of the funnel, shopping for a realtor. So, what would be some advice or activities that you could do as an agent to attract more at the bottom of the funnel?
Yeah. So online reviews are the number one thing. There's no question, right? Online reviews are super important these days. I'm sure every realtor is aware. Actually, no, every realtor is not aware. I'm aware because I'm a little bit more tuned into this stuff. But SEO is not what it used to be. If I could talk to myself as a younger agent way back when, I would have said start your SEO stuff sooner. And I would still recommend that people do that, even though the searching that's happening now, so much of it is happening through ChatGPT and Gemini and all those other AI platforms, or AI assistants as they're called. So you want to make yourself easily found. So if you were to type in top Calgary Realtor right now and go to Google, you're going to see that we're going to show up, right? That's not accidental. I did most things within my power to land there. That's just one keyword, right? Or one keyword string. The focus, the way that you show up in AI is not the same. It's not about, oh, your SEO is good. Those AI assistants are looking for something different. So there is specific coding that you need to add to your website to show up better. And it's not hard. Here's the easiest thing to do. You go to ChatGPT or Gemini and you basically just say, hey, how do I show up for this keyword in my neighborhood, right? Or in my area? How do I show up as, one of the top Calgary realtors top realtors in Calgary? Give me the code, show me where to put it on my website. What do I need to do? And it'll show you, like, hey, produce some Q&A content. You encode that stuff into your website. And this is not hard. It is really not hard. The average realtor could do this. And I really, truly do mean that. And most people have a pretty simple editor. And it's truly just about getting AI to do the work for you. It will tell you how to pull this stuff up. Then again, you create some blog content, long form blog content kind of rules the day again. Here's something super important. Not a lot of people know that your Google reviews are not going to be pulled by Gemini, which is even a Google product. Your reviews will not be anything on Google, your Google Place page or your My Google Business. None of that information, none of the reviews, because they're They're not static. It's not static on a static web page. So the information that you want, or that you, the way you want it to happen, is you need to get those things in different places around the web. So take your reviews and put them in other places, and that will help you to be found more often, and make sure that all of your reviews are on your website as well. I say that right now, and honestly, all of our reviews are not on our website, but we show up fairly easily because I have spent a lot of time, energy, and effort getting our reviews in other places. So
Mm. So smart. Oh, that was gold there. I wanted you to keep going because I knew there was more coming. And I'm like, come on, let it come, and boom, you just dropped it. So 100%, that was great. And I love what you were saying about go to the enter at the conversation that the client's are already having. So Darren Hardy talks about this idea about actually laying in bed with your client. Like think of one client, your core client, your most ideal client, the one that you love working with, right?
yeah,
And if you could have 1,000 more of them, like that's who you want to be thinking of. And like lay, not, I'm talking figuratively, not physically. Don't go lay in your client's bed, at night. But the point here is lay at bed at night and actually look up the ceiling right beside them and like think, what are they concerned about? What are they worried about? Um, and what you dropped like some really good insight here of like they want somebody that they can trust to like guide them along the way. They want to make sure not to have any mistakes. They don't want to pick a bad realtor. They want something that's proven. And oh, I love this part too that you had said is like nobody wants to be a leader. They want you to lead. They want to follow because there's like responsibility with leading, right? And they're not doing this every day. They're looking for a guide. And this reminds me of something I talk a lot about is like when I go to a restaurant, I don't want an order taker. I want a guide, somebody that's going to like when I ask them what do you recommend and they get lit up and they're like, "Oh, you have to order this or this." Like, don't you love that, Ben, when you have is somebody that's serving you and they get lit up on something when you ask them, they get excited. I'm like
yeah,
all over. I get it every single time when somebody gets
yeah.
excited.
I do too. Make my life easier, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's so much there. I think for the listeners, it would be really good if they go back and rewind that part and listen to it and execute. I think that there's a lot of gold because I think even like from a funnel standpoint, there's a lot of money spent at the top of the funnel. But unless you have the systems and the patience to be able to stay with those leads that are coming that are maybe 6 months down the road, a lot of times they're not quite ready yet. And you need to have a system to be able to keep on following up to be able to convert them. But if you put the time in the bottom of the funnel, like you had said, there's more of there's a higher probability that you're going to get a phone call that they're, a little closer to being ready to move.
that's right. And the other cool thing, Mark, these days is that if you're comparing, someone searching through an AI assistant versus someone that's searching through SEO or trying to show up through in an AI assistant versus trying to show up with SEO results or efforts, I should say. There's a huge difference. You can show up fairly quickly for AI results substantially faster than you will for SEO. There's a huge difference and way more cost effectively. You can do a lot of that stuff yourself. It's because it's still the Wild West, right? It's going to become crowded, competitive, but right now, like it is, there's some serious low hanging fruit. And it's time right now for realtors to really lean into that. And anybody that leans into it right now will be ahead of it as it evolves and changes. It's going to continue to be an unbelievable source of high quality business.
Gold. Gold. All right. So generating business, going back to if you're a new agent today, we were just talking about, the AI side of it and leaning into that. What would you do, or what advice maybe do you give to your new agents to actually go out and generate business today?
I go back to, I have a thing I call the 4x4, and it is you do 4 hour open houses every single week. And here's why. You said there was one key component that you said, which was increasing conversations, right? When things are slow, when things are busy, whatever it is. But I come from this metric of shoot for up to 50 unique real estate conversations per week. 50 unique real estate conversations per week. And one of the easiest ways to do that, and the highest conversion rate you're going to get, will be from open houses, because people who are walking in the door are legitimately interested in real estate, right? Here's another one that I didn't ever know until somebody, it was a client that actually told me this, but people, there are some people that walk into open houses that are not from your area and they are shopping for a realtor. They're literally interviewing realtors at the open house and you don't even know it. So you must always conduct yourself in a way, don't fake it till you make it, but literally just be the best person you can be and offer good service and be there for people and show them that you legitimately and genuinely care. And you'll easily win lots of business, especially if you know what else is going on around you. But so the biggest thing I recommend for every brand new agent, and any agent that is in a slump, or any agent that's having some difficulties or sales are not where they need to be, like, you just start showing up. Like, open houses are open house hours. Like, this is your 16 hours a week where the front door is wide open for people to come walking in. And if nobody comes walking in the door, then you better have a really good list of things you finished during that 4 hour open house, because it's 100% dedicated real estate time. There's nothing else going on. You're not folding towels at home while you're watching a YouTube video. Like, you are there creating content, editing content, calling people back. You're doing all the things you need to do. I'm a bit of a hard ass on this. I really am. And the reason why is because it's like, you either want it or you don't. And if you don't want it, you have to be honest with yourself enough to, again, look inside and see what you're afraid of. But it's shocking to me the number of people that don't actually, they'll do it differently. I'm like, it's a 3-step process, right? Like, you get your signs done, you show up, you sit there. That's it, right? Have your like talk to people. It's just that simple. And get out of your shell. Like look at yourself and realize, like, why am I not offering more? Why am I not trying for a close? Why am I not offering to show them another property after the open house? Why am I not offering to get people set up on searches, or offering a buyer consult, or whatever it is? Like, look within yourself, find out, like, what is the inner thing that's holding you back, that's preventing you from just simply offering the things that they're actually looking for,
Mm.
right?
So I love it, and it is simple. It's again, it's just you need to just show up and do the thing. So 4 by 4, so 4 hour open houses. So is that like, say, a Saturday, Sunday, from like 9 to 1, and then say from like 1:30, or say 2 to 6? Are there opportune times that you recommend to agents to do these 4 open houses?
I do. And so it's actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it would be like a 3 to 7 or a 4 to 8 Thursday and Friday. And then like a 11 to 3 or 12 to 4 Saturday and Sunday. Now, the reason I recommend even Thursdays and Fridays is because, okay, Mark, I'm going to ask you this. Like, who is going to walk into an open house at 5:05 on a Thursday?
Yeah, you're gonna have
Who,
yeah, you're gonna have like regular, we'll say 9 to 5 jobs are gonna be coming in after, maybe on their way home,
right?
potentially.
Neighbors.
Yeah.
And they want to find out who's the kook that's doing an open house on Thursday afternoon, right? And so it's sellers. It's legitimately buyers and sellers. Those are the people walking in the doors. So if you like buyer seller combos, right? Like, those are the people that will be walking in the door. Saturdays and Sundays, a lot more buyer activity. So if you're looking to get sellers, that's when people are actually, you get a higher probability of someone that's shopping for a realtor during that time frame. It also is the cheapest, easiest way for you to get your name out there in front of other people. And then, so 4 open houses a week, 4 hours. And then if you do some, again, this stuff is old school, but it's just so effective. Is previews, like, literally know what else is available in the market. You ask realtors, say, hey, do you mind if I just do a quick little 5-minute walkthrough at a time that's convenient for you guys? I got an open house coming on. I'm going to be generating buyers, and I'd love the opportunity to show yours as well. Blah blah blah. So as long as you know 5 to 10 other listings in the area that are a similar price range, and you can actually talk about those things, totally different than just looking on the MLS and going through the data. Like, if you've been in the property and you've shot, like, you like it, you just speak about it in a different way. And that truth, that honesty, that authenticity will just naturally come through. And then people will be like, okay, if we want to buy a home in this neighborhood, this is the guy. Like, he knows what's available. He knows what's around. He's sitting here in an open house. Like, it will increase your conversions by probably a factor of three.
Love it. I love it. It makes a lot of sense, right? You have further insight. You have data that the client doesn't have. You have insights that the client doesn't have, because a lot of buyers, they'll walk through and it's like, I know a lot of them might think that they know as much as you. And when you start giving further insights that they didn't know, that positions you higher up as an authority, and trust. It comes through. Um, do you do any, we'll say, invites to all the neighbors for these open houses? Do you like any flyers or door knocking, or is it that just, all gravy?
I would recommend agents do it. It's another great way to just get comfortable getting out of your shell and kind of making that stuff happen. I personally have not really had much success with it, but I think if you're doing open houses, why not print off 50 sheets and go knock on 50 doors before every open house? Why not? Right? There's definitely no harm. I know there's some agents out there that they'll have great success with doing this like a neighbor open house. So it's like, hey, we're going to be there from 12 to 4, but for neighbors only, this one's going to be from 11 to 12 kind of thing. So if you're interested in popping in during that time, blah blah blah. So I think that the biggest thing is really just literally logging the hours and having your sign out there. Really really counts for it. The other thing that I'll say is that agents will, oh well, I'm looking to sell $2 million homes. No, that's not the best way to do it. Like if you're trying to, you need to be sitting open houses that are either just slightly above the average or at the average or just a little bit below the average price. You'll get a way higher um, stick rate for sure. And then the other big piece I'll add to that is that when doing those open houses, you really need to be focused on 100%, just 100% real estate time. Like that is the only reason you're there. So use it and use it wisely. So.
Yeah, that's such wise counsel. It was so good. How about when you take on a listing? Do you do anything for servicing that listing that your clients have said, "Wow, like this is really above and beyond. We really like how you do this," when it comes to servicing your listings?
That's such a great question, especially for like right now, because I think straight across Canada that the inventory is up and sales have certainly slowed. Um, I'm thinking about it, and the reason why is because we have just such a we've got a long list of things that we do to make sure that we're showing up in all the different places, and we happily brag about all these things and show all these things, and here's our stats and whatever else. But honestly, Mark, I think probably the most important thing is it's not really that we do like a big marketing thing. It's more about, let me show you our stats and let me show you how we achieve these stats. And let me show you kind of what I need from you for us to be able to achieve these stats. I'm a really big strategy guy. So my focus is always going to be, let's put a listing on the market that's going to get a lot of attention. Or let me rephrase that. If we're putting a property on the market, I want to put it on the market in a way that's going to make it stand out. And
Mm,
so does that mean magical photos or a magical video? No. Like you and I both know, it really comes down to pricing. So if there's 15 homes on the market and we're coming on the market with another one, well, I mean, we're either behind everybody, we're with everybody, or we're ahead of everybody. And if you're behind or with everybody, you might not sell, right? The only way to guarantee they're going to sell is by being a front runner. And so when clients recognize and when they actually see that what you're talking about is the thing where you're truly focused on the exact same thing, I think that is such a really good hook. Because when I sit down with people and I say, hey, look, you and I want the exact same thing. We want your home sold for the highest price, the shortest time frame with the least amount of stress. That's what we want. We both want the same thing. So everything I'm going to tell you here is 100% about making sure that we're all moving in that direction. Everything else is superfluous. Like nothing else really matters as much as you and I being 100% aligned on the exact same goal. And so I will also tell people I'm never, ever, ever, ever looking for an easy sale. And then that's when I go into all the education around, okay, this is buyer psychology. This is why people are having difficulty getting their home sold. And you never get a second chance to make a first impression. We sell 78% of our homes in the first 30 days, and here's how. And then I just go through and I really take the time to educate people on how the MLS system works, on what buyer psychology is, so that I'm not getting lost in this whole thing of, okay, it's been on the market for 5 weeks now. Like, when are you going to put on your clown suit and do some cartwheels on the front lawn? Well, I'm not doing that, right? The marketing is the marketing. Like, the value proposition for the property needs to be bang on for someone to come in and say, we like it, let's write an offer. And nobody can argue with you when the focus is like my listing presentations, Mark, would sometimes be ready for this. Like, my focus at a listing presentation is get the listing, get the right price, take as long as I need. Sometimes I've had listing presentations that would go over 4 hours. But man, when you spend that kind of time with someone, you're guaranteed to get the listing. They see tremendous value in who you are. You're going to get a lot of repeat and referrals from that as well. And you also just secure the listing. And guess what? The clients are effectively wrapped right around your finger. Now, I say that with love because I really mean it. Like, I'm not interested in coercing anyone into anything. I want them
Yeah.
fully educated so that they're thinking the way I'm
Mhm.
thinking, which is, hey, look, we're not getting activity here. It's like, why not? You and I both know we're overpriced, right? So a lot of it's about that.
That it's really good because I think that there's a certain, we'll say, segment of the market and from coaching and whatnot, where it's like, get in and get out fast as you can. Get it. And our mindset is very much aligned with yours, is that, listen, we want to be able to get through. We want to have the questions. We don't want to obviously, go, start talking about, getting way off track. But when you're talking about real estate and you're engaging and you're building relatability, that could take a couple hours. And in your case, you had said you've gone up to over 4 hours. I know I've been in appointments over three in some cases. Some of the larger properties where we're touring the property, we're going along, but I think asking really good questions, and sometimes you get clients that want to give more detail to the end to the answers. So I do think that investing the time, I think that is a something that is a competitive advantage when you're not rushing out of there. I think that that's a major no if they feel like they're being rushed out. No matter, even if you're the top agent, it's like they are your only client. And I think
Yeah.
that that's, even if you do a lot of sales, I think keeping that top of mind is really good, especially if you're adding value to the conversation, like what you were saying, like the stats. You're providing, you're developing and you building up your authority figure in front of them. That's like, hey, listen, Ben is he knows a lot more than us. He actually cares about us because he's spent, whatever amount of hours with us. He answers
Yeah.
all of our questions. It's like, by the time it's like they feel almost bad for you. Of course, we got to go with Ben, right? The reciprocity world. You've given so much of your time, so I think that's really good insight, because there's a lot of coaching out there that I've seen where it's like, get out quick before they change their mind with the signed listing, but that's not going to generate the same kind of referrals as your approach.
That's right. And the cost of a referral is nothing, right? I mean, it's nothing. We know it's not nothing, but the cost of it is doing an extremely good job. But yeah, that's super important. And it's yeah, he spent 4 hours with us. We've got to give him the listing, right? But
Can you imagine
I,
calling Ben back and saying we're going with somebody else? Is like, oh, they're it's like
yeah,
people, and reciprocity is a real thing. People feel like they have to give something back to you, like with this, like you spent that much time. Now, that being said, there are many times we're in competition, and they're interviewing five different people, and eventually they got to let somebody go. But if somebody was in and out in like 15, 20 minutes and somebody else was 2 hours and they were equal, I'm betting on the 2 hour appointment is going to probably get it, I think.
agreed. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah,
How
I think
about
there's a lot to it.
when it comes to investing? So there's a lot of different areas that a real estate agent can invest. So let's just say an agent starts doing well, they start selling, more homes. They have some dollars that they want to invest. What advice or investing advice would you have for any real estate agents that are out there? Or you can take it another direction. Any of your clients that are coming to you asking for investing advice when it comes to real estate.
Uh, there's a whole lot. There's
Yeah.
there's 100 different ways to
Go
answer
any
that
any
question,
which
but
way you want to go with
yeah.
that.
Sure. So I'm a big stock market guy. I have been for a long time, and but I'm also a big cash flow guy. So I will invest in things specifically for the purpose of creating cash flow to reinvest that cash flow. And so I've invested in. Uh, I've in, Who's listening? Who's listening? Okay. So, my best investments, Mark, were I bought 15 mobile homes when the market was really soft here in Calgary. And my cheapest one I bought for $1. The most expensive one I bought was about 12,000 bucks. The market had just slipped right down. Everything was crazy cheap. I didn't tell my wife about it. There's a really good story here, but I one year it was November and I was exhausted and I was just like, man, like just another year. Like I gotta hype myself up and reset a goal and do the thing. I'm like, but if I don't show up, I'm not making money. I'm like, I need another pillar of income. And so I started looking into a couple things, and then a friend of mine from Ohio, I've been on his email newsletter list for 15 years or whatever, and I saw this thing come across and it's like rent to own mobile homes, and I was like, ugh, I've seen this before. I'm like, fine, I'll jump in. And so I bought the course, I went through it, I looked at a couple different things, and I was like, maybe this would work. Our market was super soft. It was, the end of the year. So it's like November, December, the market's kind of slow. So I went out and I bought these two mobile homes and I felt, hey, I can probably, do something with these. It took me about 6 months to kind of figure it out properly, get the right ads written, attract the right people, do the leases, get the paperwork done correctly. And anyway, I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't tell my wife about it. And then 6 months later, I had purchased maybe eight of them, because I was picking them up for two, three, four, $5,000. Most of them were upwards of more like seven, eight, nine. But I bought eight of them, and then we're driving back from our vacation spot in BC, and I said, I've got something I need to tell you, and I totally baited her, and she goes, okay, what? And I said, well, I've been keeping a secret from you. And I said, I know we don't really keep secrets from each other, but I have a secret that I've been keeping, and I've been keeping it for about 6, 8 months now. And I have to tell you about it. And she's getting all worried
Yeah,
and nervous and
yeah.
stuff. And I was just dragging her through it just for fun. And so I said to her, I go, I've been buying mobile homes and I've been doing these rent to own mobile homes. And she's like, what? What are you talking about? Anyway, so I explained the whole thing to her. I showed her the numbers, and she's just like, these are these are really good investments. And I'm like, I know. Anyway, this was a number of years ago. So the mobile homes have been they've been kicking out like 40% a year over year over year over year. So truly, to date, it's been my absolute best investment of all time. And I'm a Bitcoin guy. I've been in Bitcoin for a number of years, other cryptos as well. And I'm big on, like we talked about before, I'm with Real Broker. So I've got a fair bit of Real Broker stock as well. Part of, being at the brokerage is buying into the brokerage as well with different programs and bonuses and things. Um, I also love real estate. I have always wanted to get into more multifamily stuff, but in a lot of cases the numbers aren't great. It's like you either need to have like small mom and pop, like four at least in Calgary, like fourplexes, duplexes, and fourplexes, or you need to have 12, 18, 20, and above. And I have never really been one for business partners. I I've had bad experiences with partners in the past. So I just, if it is to be, it's up to me, and I'll have people work with me, but I don't want partners. So I'll run it myself, or I'm not going to do it at all. Or I'll hire someone else to do it for me. So, as far as clients go, there's some big differences between Alberta and Ontario, specifically cash flow. Properties might be cheaper here, but our rents are also way cheaper. So cash flowing properties, for the majority of my career, 23 years as an agent, probably like 19 of those years, you're lucky to have break even cash flow on most of your real estate investments. And the other thing is, lots of people in Ontario love pre-construction properties. Not a good idea in Alberta. Probably 50% of the time, it's not going to work out as planned in Alberta. So, just a couple things I've
Yeah,
experienced, and but yeah,
it's really
yeah.
good. Good, really good insight, and that's a very, we'll say, widespread answer as well, which is great. Great insight. All right, so we're into the rapid fire. So we have three last questions here for you, Ben, and then we're going to wrap this up. So far, it's been a great conversation. So my first question is: I'm a big reader, love reading books. I'm curious, which book has made the biggest impact in your career?
Okay, there's two. Okay, the first one is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker. I reread that book semi regularly because the roots are the fruits, right? So you have to get good at changing the roots within yourself if you're wanting to get a different type of fruit in your life. So the results that you're looking for will come as a result of the roots. The second one is a book called Power versus Force by a guy named Dr. David Hawkins. That's really not a real estate book at all, or even a money book, but it's about understanding the hidden determinants of human behavior. And it's about understanding how and why people do what they do. It is not a light read. There's some stuff in there that'll really stretch your mind, but it is something I highly recommend that people read as well. So those two books have made massive impact in my life over the past 20 years.
It's awesome. Next question: three words that best describe you.
Uh, Fun, energetic, and youthful.
All right, perfect. And final question, what final advice would you have for the agents out there to, allow them to maybe take their business to the next level?
Take the time every day to find out why you're not taking the action that you know you should be taking, and be deadly honest with yourself. And then figure out a way to let go of the things that are holding you back. If you will do that every day, your entire world will just shift and change. But it will be like watching paint dry. Like it's not an instant thing, but it'll be the greatest thing you've ever done for yourself, and it'll affect every area of your life. So
Very cool. No, that's good. That thinking time, I think that's very, very smart. All right. Well, if the listeners out there, if they want to, we'll say, send you a referral, maybe it's a buyer or seller, or reach out and connect, what's the best way they can do that?
you can just Google Ben Suite, Calgary, Alberta. That's the easiest way, or at the real Ben Suite, or bensuite.com, or allcalgarylistings.com. Any one of those works just fine.
That's amazing. Well, Ben, I really appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your insights and wisdom, and wish you continued success moving forward.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Real pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
Right on. And thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed the show, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel, or maybe you could share the show with another agent you think would benefit from it. I love you guys, and keep on going full out.